Good. What's up, everybody? I'm going to try something different today. Y'all let me know in the chat what the audio sounds like. Quality control. Let your boy know. Quality control, where y'all at? What's the audio sounding like? Sigamigs, what's good with you, bro? Am I loud and clear? Audio good, bet. All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the Chop Shop Pod. I'm doing a solo dolo today, and this is a topic that I wanted to talk about that I've been thinking about for since we hired Coach UDOKA, and it's just looking at the fit of our players on his system or in his system. I think there's a misconception with what people think he runs as a system on both ends of the court and what he actually does. So in the past few weeks, I've been just like trying to dig into as much of the Celtics as much as possible. I probably still have to do one of my like super detailed breakdowns of their team, but I think that I'm gonna just kind of do a broad overview of what he is cooking with and how it fits our players. And if you guys see the caption, there's four players on there, and I think those players are going to be important in determining the success that we have. Obviously, Jalen Green is going to be number one. Jabari Smith is going to be another one. Shangoon is going to be another one, and Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be another one. And I'm going to talk about really how each of those players fit on a Rockets team that's run by Ime Udoka. Okay. So first thing we need to look at is we need to find out like what is Ime's system, right? And comparing, what the Celtics did and what they did prior to him getting there as their head coach or becoming the head coach, and what he did after he became their head coach. It's really night and day. They really changed a lot, and it's really hard to see because if y'all remember during that season for the Celtics, they were having a lot of turmoil, right? This was the season that they lost a lot of games. I think they had Kemba as a point guard that year, and even though Brad Stevens was a great X and O's guy, not really pushing the guys to their limits, and that season was very disappointing the way it ended. And they started off the next season with Coach Udoka, and it looked ugly to start. There were Boston fans calling for his head, wanted him fired, wanted him gone. But all he was doing was really setting up the Celtics for one of the probably in the past decade, one of their greatest runs of basketball. If you look at the stats from what Boston did from January 14th to the end of the season, they might have had the greatest run in NBA history. And there's several things that really lended to that. And, these are things that ironically fit the Rockets like a glove. It's almost as if the Rockets and Coach Udoka saw something in each other that just matched perfectly. And I think that it's not a coincidence that he chose to come to Houston over some other cities that he could have been at, because I think there's some things that he had seen that he had in Boston and he has here. Now, people are going to say that, be like, that's crazy, right? The Rockets, we're like the worst team in the NBA. But are we really the worst team in the NBA? And how far are we from being a good team if we are? As y'all know, my stance on Steven Silas and his tenure here in the Houston Rockets was that he mismanaged our talent, right? Jalen, not put in the right position to be successful. Alperen, not put in the right position to be successful. Jabari, y'all know damn well Jabari was not put in the right position to be successful. And, anybody that basically touched the court was being played out of position. People thought this was part of tanking. People thought this was, it's some mastermind thing, 4D chess that Steven Silas was doing. But guess what? He was being for real and he got fired, right? Because he disappointed, didn't live up to what he was supposed to do. So the Rockets players, it's really hard to judge what these kids are because we really don't know. We really, really don't know. All we do know is what we've seen on the court. And there's some good and there's a lot of bad. But let's start with the Celtics first. I'm going to take y'all back to 2020-2021 season with the Boston Celtics. They are going through it, right? Going on a stretch, losing a bunch of games. This is a season they only won 38 games, right? And lost 25 games on the road. They went 15 and 25 on the road that season. So to talk of a team that was recently prior to that in the Eastern Conference Finals to be where they're at, they were suffering, right? It was really, really bad. And if you look at some of their, just their ratings, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some of the things that they really did well at, right? So Boston was good in transition that year. That was one of the things they were good at. They were good at spot up shooting that year. One of the things they were good at. They were good at cutting that year. One of the things they were good at. And guess where they ranked in those play types, right? How often did they do the plays they were good at? Bottom of the league, right? Bottom third in transition, bottom third in spot ups, bottom third in running, in cutting to the basket. They were bottom third in the things they were good at. Pick and roll ball handler, bottom third, and the things that they sucked at: offensive rebounding, isolation, and just handoffs. They did those a lot, a lot. Does that sound familiar to you guys? If you guys have watched the channel, you've known that one of the things that Steven Silas really irritated me on is his insistence on running plays that we were terrible at. No, and if let's look at the Rockets for that. The same scenario, Houston Rockets, things that we did the most: offensive rebounding. We were, pretty good at offensive rebounding, um, but still not, super great in scoring off of those rebounds. Pick and roll ball handler. I think we were top 6 to end the year, right? We're in the top 83rd percentile. That's trash. Pick and roll man. We were, probably one of the worst teams in doing that. Top 67th percentile. That's trash. Handoffs below average, kind of middle of the pack with the handoffs, which is what we like. Isolations, we were good in isolation, middle of the pack. Uh, Poor in spot ups, poor in transition, poor coming off of screens. So basically, the things that the Celtics did in those seasons were things they were bad at, and the things that we did pretty much the whole tenure of Steven Silas was things we were terrible at. To me, that's a sign of a. I don't want to say it's a bad coach, but if you can't spot the talent that you have on your roster and be able to maximize it, then it really says a lot about the coaching style and what type of ability you have as a coach to maximize players. The excuse of they were young, that really doesn't explain that. To me, being young is more of a reason for them to be able to play to their strengths, right? So you can develop those strengths and use the time in between to mitigate some of those weaknesses. But this was something that the Rockets were not doing, Steven Silas was not doing. And to me, all that screams of is a coach that does not understand their identity as a coach. And you guys know it. Like when you're in a pinch, you go to the Old Faithful, right? And Old Faithful for Steven Silas was pick and rolls, right? Pick and rolls, and we're gonna isolate, here and there with Kevin Porter Jr. and pick and rolls. So this got us, to where we are, bottom offense, worst transition offense and defense, like in NBA history. We're setting records in a negative way. But now that we've hired Coach Udoka, what is going to change? Firstly, after the season where he came into the team for the Boston Celtics, so this is the season last year in the 2021-22 season, after that disappointing season, they went and won 67 games that year, which is a crazy turnaround, right? You go from 38 wins to 67 wins, 38 wins to 67 wins. That's a lot of wins. Now, he had talent. He had a lot of talent, but to push the right buttons to get that amount of wins, especially how badly they played during the season, is short of miraculous. And really, the number one attribute that I think the Rockets hired Coach Udoka for that makes him the perfect man for the job is hierarchy, because the Celtics had a hierarchy issue, right? There's interviews that you could watch of Marcus Smart, of different players. There was even an interview where Marcus calls out Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum because they didn't pass the ball, right? It was me basketball. It was isolation. They were a very isolation heavy team, 77th, percentile in that. So guys were basically playing in a vacuum. Sounds familiar, right? A lot of talented players that could dribble, attack, get to the rim, and not pass the ball. And this was one of the hindrances to the Celtics and the amount of talent that they have. But one thing that Ime was able to find is the ability to build that hierarchy within those systems. When you have those talented players, one of the most important pieces that he was able to really push the buttons on, and this is going to correlate. And I think for a kid that is going to be probably one of the most controversial in the Rockets fan base was how Ime is going to work with Kevin Porter Jr. And the parallel for that got to be the Marcus Smart role. So you think about Marcus Smart. Some of y'all may remember him out of Oklahoma State. This was a dude that was a bucket. He was cold. Like Marcus Smart was cold at Oklahoma State. A really, really good combo guard. And he comes into the league, into a Celtics team that is Jason Tatumless, that is Jaylen Brownless. And he is like this lone young guy that's going to come in and, kind of help this team that's trying to build an identity get to where they're trying to go. Sounds familiar, right? Kevin Porter, right? Harden trade year. So he has this battery in his back as this guy that's has the accolades of a scorer. And you're brought to this team where, the talent is kind of wishy-washy. And you guys have a down year and it, puts you in position to draft a Jaylen Brown. And then you have another year where it puts you in position to draft a Jalen Green. I mean, a Jason Tatum and a Jason Tatum. And now Marcus is in a position where he is no longer looked at as the first option, and he has to take a back seat to people that were drafted higher than him and have more talent than him. Under Brad Stevens, he struggled with that. And honestly, watching the game today and watching some of the games that the Celtics have had, they've really, really kind of went back to doing some of that stuff. I think they're reverting back to where there's no hierarchy on the team because one thing that Ime did for Marcus was really let him flourish in a role that I think Kevin Porter can really flourish at, which is offensive initiator and defensive stopper. Marcus is not a great athlete. He's not a super, 7'9" wingspan. No, not one of those guys. But he gives a lot of effort. He's tough. He plays hard, and he's smart. I think Kevin Porter can do that. I think there's a world where if KPJ buys in, he could see himself become one of the key players on a contender because he has the skill set to do so. Another thing that Coach UDOKA did for Marcus Smart was allow him to initiate the offense, but not have such a high usage, meaning that he was one that would pretty much just make the entry passes, get the ball down the court. But once he got off the ball, Marcus moved. And this is another thing with the Celtics offense. They move off ball. And this meant more catch and shoot opportunities for him. And I think this is where Kevin Porter will be able to really get a lot of shine. Now, there's limitations to building a team with a bunch of combo guards and things like that, like the Celtics try to do, and we're seeing it today. We're seeing it in we saw it last year in the finals and throughout some of the playoff series, where they would look like nobody could dribble the ball or get an entry pass in, but because they played to their strengths, it kind of mitigated a lot of that. And what their strengths were attacking the basket and kicking out the ball. And I look at our roster. Let's move on to Jalen Green. Right? Jalen Green is a paint touch god, right? This dude can get to the paint at will. One of the things that Jalen really needs to improve on is his passing when he drives the ball. I think he was like 6 or 7% passing on drives, which is not great. That's kind of bad. That's almost terrible. If you look at most of the players that drive the ball as much as he does, they're up in the 9s, 10s, 11%. So I want him to get to that. Like I've said this before, Jalen needs to be at 10% driving the ball because that really opens up a lot of the court for him. Because if they know that he's just going to drive and try to make a bucket, teams are just going to park in the paint. But when they know that he is a threat to kick the ball out, it opens up a whole world because the help becomes funny there. The defense has to make a decision. They're in a bind. So for Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, this was something that they really cultivated with them is the ability to drive and kick. Not saying they're elite at it, but they did it. They got way better at assisting the ball. The team's secondary assists went up, damn near doubled under Coach Udoka. So these are guys getting downhill into the paint, kicking it out. And the thing that really makes the Celtics different is the extra pass, right? They always have the extra pass, always have the extra pass. All of these things are things that lend to that, what the Rockets can do to improve. Under our offense, no off ball movement, guys with tunnel vision. These are things that are going to be expected under this new regime. And you start thinking about the alignments, right? So now we've built the Kevin Porter as the initiator. And I think there's a good chance KPJ starts at point guard. I know there's a lot of people that feel some type of way about him, but honestly, I think we have to be able to give all of these guys like a fair chance to compete under structure. Have to give them a fair chance to compete under some consistency in a context where they're trying to win, where there's actually an effort to do things that are smart instead of just playing dumb and making bad decisions. Where there's veterans around, where there's some like just some accountability. And my thing for Kevin Porter is that he's flashed enough talent for me to know that yeah, he can play in the NBA and he can probably play at a high level. The rest is going to be on him to buy in. I'm not saying he's like Marcus Smart because Marcus Smart never really had any of the off the court issues. But on the court, they play very similarly. A lot of like head scratching turnovers. They're not point guards in the classic sense. They're more combo guards that have the ability to initiate. Marcus Smart can score in isolation. He does have that back. He's a pretty good catch and shoot 3-point shooter. Not as good as Kevin Porter Jr. But I think that getting Kevin Porter to buy in is going to be bigger for the team than anything. And it really does beg the question of, what type of point guard would the Rockets need if that is the case? So I could see a world, I know people aren't going to want to hear me say this. I could see a world where KPJ is your starting point guard in name. But like I said, the offense that the Celtics ran under Coach Udoka, I mean, they still run pretty much the same offense. It's not a structure in the sense of oh, we're gonna run, this action and this guy's gonna be here and be waiting. I mean, every coach has those plays where they are, they have set plays after timeouts and things like that, right? But what the Celtics do is they run concepts, right? Drive, kick, the guys are going to rise and fill into the empty zones and fill the void, get to really spacing. They emphasize spacing a lot in their offense. And that's going to lead me to my next 2 points with first, we're going to talk about Jabari. So Jabari is a odd player for this offense. I know people think his fit is seamless, but in this Celtics offense, I'm curious to see where he's going to fit, right? Because they are really big on the ability to get into the paint, right? They're really big on him on their players to be able to get paint touches because, like I said, a lot of drive and kick. So I'm gonna be curious to see how Coach Udoka utilizes Jabari, given his weaknesses. Like Jabari is he's not like a terrible, ball handler like when he first came into the NBA. He improved in there a lot, and I know he's working on that over the summer. And if I was the coach and I was giving Jabari like this is what you got to do for the summer is definitely work on your ball handling to be able to at least, get by certain types of players. But I don't want Jabari to be used as a Grant Williams type of player because right now, if I'm doing the comp of, what Jabari could be if I'm like doing a 1-for-1 for their offense. It's probably Grant Williams, but to me, I feel like he's more dynamic than that. In fact, I feel like Jabari is a mixture of that Grant Williams role and the what's their center's name, Al Horford role as well, because I feel like they use Al Horford in the post a little bit. I think Jabari is going to be able to get those. They also use Al to set screens and pop. I think Jabari is going to be able to do that. I think that for the Grant Williams part, obviously he's going to be the guy that's going to be spacing in the corners, right? And then, if he gives you that space, he can also obviously on the defensive end be a guard multiple positions. So he's going to fit I'm just curious to see what the maximum fit for him is going to be, because to me, the margins of becoming a going from a bad team to a good team or a decent team is really all about maximization of your talent, right? And then, you go from there. So, but for him in this offense, he's going to get a lot of open looks. All those times you guys watch the games where Jabari's in the corner standing there waving his arm, or whoever it is that's open, um, those are going to be passes that are going to be made because obviously I think Coach Udoka is going to have he's going to give them some time to learn his system, but after so long, those things won't be like tolerated anymore, because then you're hindering the offense. So for Jabari offensively, yeah, I think that's going to be something to look for. How do they use him? And then when it comes to spacing, the biggest X factor to me is going to be Shangun, right? What is Ime going to use Shangun like in his offense? Now, this is a tricky question because obviously there's nobody on the Celtics that's like Alperen Shangun. There's no player on the Celtics that has the skill set he has, the combination of skills that he puts together as a basketball player. There's nobody on that team that can do that. So this is where the question comes in. I know what I would do, but I don't know what Coach Udoka is going to do with Shangun. I know some of the things I've seen them play certain things with Al Horford, where they get him, with the post ups. They basically, what the Celtics do is hunt for mismatches, and you guys can watch their playoff games. They do this. They're going to set screens, so they hunt for mismatches. And once they find a mismatch they like, they're going to attack that mismatch, try to force the help, then kick out. They also do this with Al Horford in the elbow, right? They'll get him in the elbow on a mismatch on a small and let him generate shots that that either you're going to come and help, or he's going to kick. If you do help, he's going to kick it out to a shooter. The thing is, that's just one aspect. I don't like, I don't think that alone is enough to maximize Shangun. Remember what I said. In order for you to be able to change a bad team to a decent team, you need to maximize all the talent you have. Squeeze every talent juice that you got out of these kids. So what I think they should do, that's one way. Get Shangun on the elbow when you switch. So this means that you have to concede the mismatches when they're there, right? We saw a lot of that during the season where Shangun would have a tiny point guard on him, and one of our guys would, just rather isolate the wing that switched onto them and take a contested shot, right? So this is where IQ comes in. They have to concede the mismatches. If he gets switched out on a smaller player, give him the ball. That's one. That's only for him to get his scores or generate open shots. All that hesitancy that you saw him doing in the season when he won't pass the ball is because our guys were not where they were supposed to be. If you watch a real team, and I'm sorry to the Rockets players, you guys are real, but if you watch a real team, when when the help comes, or a player is running like a pick and roll and somebody cuts, somebody else fills that zone because you want to keep the spacing good. You rise up to where the empty zone is so you can have an easier pass for the person with the ball. And a lot of times, the cuts that were supposed to happen didn't happen. The rises or the shakes that were supposed to happen to the empty void space that the player left to cut didn't happen, and it led to a lot of bad, ugly basketball. So that Shangun piece is going to be very, very tricky to see. To me, it's going to be fairly easy, right? It's going to be fairly easy. So the way I'm looking at it, I'm going to look at real quick the Boston Celtics. This is their. Let me see if I can share my screen with y'all boys. So the Boston Celtics, let's look at them from the 21-22 season under Coach Udoka. Let me share that screen with y'all. All right, excuse the 1,000 tabs on my thing. So let me zoom in. So what we're looking at here, this is their play types that the Celtics ran that year on offense. You can see their number one play types for the Celtics is spot up shooting, right? Spot up. So they were one of the best spot ups. This is not how well they shot, right? This is spot up just attempts. So this is one big difference from Silas and Udoka, his offense generates a lot of spot up shooting, like a lot, right? And this is a bulk of their points came off of those spot up threes. And that means when he said we need to get shooters, the bro was not capping. In order for his offense to work, the Rockets need to get some shooters like right now, right? They need to get shooters right now because it's not going to do anything to have guys like Garuba, guys like well, Tari Eason was a decent shooter, but our guys aren't great, right? We don't have a lot of great shooters on the Tate, KJ to an extent. All these guys, we're gonna have to upgrade. It's almost a must for the Rockets to be able to get some players. That's why the Cam Johnsons get sexy. That's why the Mikal Bridges of the world, some of these guys get sexy. That's why the KPJ as the off guard gets real sexy, right? Right. That's why Jalen should be working on his shooting right now because everybody in this offense is a spot up shooter. The center is a spot up shooter. The power forward is a spot up shooter. The point guard is a spot up shooter. So they have to do that. They have to get shooting by hook or crook. They have to get shooting. Now, one of the other second most offensive play types they ran were coming off screens. So this is where Shangoon is going to come in because there are wrinkles that he can bring to the offense that the Celtics just don't have. Even though, like, I don't know what his shooting is going to be. I loved what he did towards the end of the season. He was taking about one or two a game and hitting at a pretty decent clip. So if Shangoon can get to about three pointers a game, and I think he can, guys, I guarantee you. Listen to me. Y'all remember when he said Coach Silas doesn't want him shooting threes? I guarantee you, the first training text Coach Udoka sent to him had two things on there: work on your defense, foot speed, and stuff like that, and shoot because he's gonna have to shoot. Like he's gonna have to shoot. If Shangoon develops a 33% 3-point shot, it's curtains, right? That's pretty much it. If he develops a 33% 3-point shot on like three attempts, that's all you need from him. That's really all you need. That's his, yeah. Sigmig said that's his homework. It's just that. So coming off screen, Shangoon is one of the best screeners in the NBA at like right now. He's one of the best screeners in the NBA. You're talking about combining the screen setting, then with the ability to get downhill into the paint. I think it's unique. It's a unique blend of skills that you rarely get, and the shooting to me is what unlocks that to the extreme. Like if he can learn to shoot, I think that opens up there's just a world of everything for him, and the defense is at his mercy because things that Al Horford does not have in his bag: the short roll ability, to be able to pass on the move, to be able to punish the post, be able to be a facilitator from the elbow, from the top of the key, and be able to run that point center role that he has. So some of those things, I'm curious to see how Coach Udoka is going to be able to use that to their strengths. And the third most offensive play types that they ran was isolations, right? So this is where our guys were actually good at. The Rockets were not bad in isolation. If you look at, let's see, this is from 2022-23, the Rockets were rated as a good isolation team. So we were a good isolation team, ranked in the 63rd percentile. This was basically our offense was isolation. Whether it was KPJ, getting his shots off, whether it was Jalen, attacking to go downhill to the paint to score, or whether it was Alpi in the post in isolation, punishing other bigs or switches that were small switches that were on him. This is what we're good at, right? So we're good at isolations, and this is something that is in his offense. So he already has players that are good at isolation. I think that's something you want to look at. How did we do in spot up shooting? Let's see. So the Rockets in spot up shooting, poor, right? We suck. We can't shoot. They're gonna have to address the shooting there in order to fix that. What about coming off of screens? Let's see how the Rockets did coming off of screens. Coming off screens, the Rockets are poor, right? Because we barely ran any. This was the least ran play in the world, despite all of our players being better in some of these actions. Jalen and Kevin Porter were better when they were running off of screens. Well, especially Jalen because it gave him a head start. The reason I think coming off of screens is good for a player like Jalen is because his bag isn't there yet where he could just break you down with the dribble. So a lot of the times when you have these guards that are used to screens a lot, it gives them a running start and puts the defense in an advantage trying to fight off screens. So the guards have the angles to get to the basket, to pull up for a shot. So it's a way to mitigate a lack of a self creation. So Steph Curry is a great example. Steph Curry, he can dribble. He got a package. You know what I mean? Steph can put it, pat, 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 but he's not that big. You don't want Steph to be able to like try to do like the James Harden where he's just burrowing through the basket 30 times a game. He's going to get hurt. It's not sustainable by the time he's going to be tired on the other side of the ball. But if you got the cardio for it, run those guys off screens, especially if they're quick or they can shoot. Jalen hopefully can be elite at both, where he can get off that screen and get into the paint. And then once the defense is warped to try to stop him, kick out. Jabari, three, right? Kick out. Cam Johnson, three, right? Kick out. Shangoon, three one day, right? Kick out. Kevin Porter, three, right? And that's how you just punish teams. Okay, we're gonna pack the paint and stop Jalen from getting to the basket kickouts, right? Okay, we're going to stay home and stop him from kicking out dunks, layups, fouls. This is the Celtics offense. Okay, we're gonna play real tight, play elite defense and cover the paint and the perimeter. Okay, you know what the Celtics do? They get into the paint, you bring the help, you rotate hard, they kick the ball out, you rotate to the guy they kicked it out to, they pass it, the other guy that they pass it to, guess what he does? Attacks again. How many times can your defense stop a driving kick? That's the question the Celtics make you answer on a nightly basis. How many times can you stop a driving kick? Right? And that's a tough thing, especially when you got athletes on the wings. So if I'm Coach Udoka, I'm looking at this roster and I'm thinking like, okay, I got a couple guys that are pretty much all world level athletes. You know what I mean? I got a gifted big man that I could use in a multitude of ways that's only 20 years old and is only going to keep getting better. I have a 6'11 forward that at some point is going to be a 40% 3-point shooter and can probably guard 1 through 4. And, I have $60 million in cap space to fill in, supplement some of the needs that I have. And I have a draft pick that's coming, and it might be Victor Wembanyama. It might be Scoot Henderson. Hell, it might be Brendan Miller, right? So it was a no-brainer of all the situations because he has a blank slate here. And the good thing about this blank slate, there's already some of the trimmings of things that he does really well as a coach and what he did in Boston. I think the Rockets are in a great position this season to really take a leap. And if you look closely enough, you'll be able to see that they really were bad, but they weren't like just, as bad as we think, right? You just have to dig really, really deep. It was a lot of mismanagement. A lot of people give Knicks a lot of grief, call him the tank god, right? Or who is it? If it's not Knicks, it's, Garuba or it's some player that we blame. But the reason we might get Wembanyama is because of our coaching. And I don't want to beat a dead horse or anything, but I mean, it's facts. It's facts. So I think that people are going to underrate the value of what a decent coach is going to be able to do for our players. I think the number one player that's probably going to be impacted the most is going to be that fifth-year guard, Kevin Porter Jr. If they don't trade him, I'm going to make a prediction right here. KPJ is probably going to have one of the best seasons of his career, and it won't be even close. Because I feel like he's probably the player that fits the mold of what a Celtics player would look like right now. I think everybody else is going to catch up and maybe surpass him at some point. But a lot of guys in that fifth year, that's really when they pop off. And a lot of the stuff that he's had is between the ears, even the decision making. Now, all of this is contingent on him being able to buy in. And I'm assuming he will. If Bro buys in, like he's going to have probably one of the best years of his career by far. Because I feel like for the first time in his career, he's going to be put in position to be successful, and somebody is not going to be scared to push him. I think Stone and Silas were scared of Kevin Porter, babied him, And, you can't do that with certain people. You can't treat them with kitty gloves. Sometimes to get to your peak, you got to be pushed, especially athletes. You got to push them. You got to get uncomfortable. And I love that Coach Udoka said that. He's not one to beat around the bush. He loves having uncomfortable conversations because that's how you grow and clear things up. So he's not the one that's gonna turn a blind eye to somebody standing at the top of the key with their hands on their hips because they're not getting the ball. He's not gonna be the one to let a guy just lay there and not get back on defense. He will take you out, yell at you, and if you got something to say to him, say to him. Y'all square it up. Whatever you want to do, we gonna do it, and let's get back to ball. And I think that's what all these kids need. They really, really need that. Like X's and O's apart, the number one thing that I'm just really happy that they got him for was just to set a hierarchy for these guys because number one, he's the top dog coming in, and I love that, especially on a young team. When your coach is that top dog, it fills the void of a superstar until one steps up. Now I know there have been, the Harden thing. Harden might come, might not come. I don't know. At this point, people talk like it's inevitable. If it is, what does the team look like with James Harden? It'll be different. But he also does like that offense is pretty much what his play type is geared towards, which is driving kick. So he would fit in like a glove, right? He can get downhill. He's not finishing as well as he could, but he could pass. So he would be perfect for that offense. The thing about that offense is that the reason guys are able to score in it, it's not like a let me wait and see and dribble what, what I mean, what see what the defense does. It's really they try to hit you fast. Like you get the ball to the guy, he, does whatever attacks, and you just go from there. And I'm sure they have a time limit by how fast they want to attack the paint. Because if you wait too long, you don't get a lot of opportunities to have the defense scrambling. So the key to this offense is getting in, getting out, right? Get in the paint. Defense helps, kick out, they rotate, attack again, attack that closeout, get in the paint. Defense helps. Somebody's going to break, right? They have a Jalen Green on the team, on the other team that's going to quit midway through the second rotation, right? Because he's tired. You know what I mean? They got guys that'll do that, right? So you just keep pushing them and keep doing that, and your guys are going to get a lot of good threes. And I think it's going to work out. I think if we get a Wembanyama, Wemby is going to be just, I think, almost a perfect fit for this offense. Then you're thinking about the double big lineups. You can have so many different types of offensive lineups that you could send out there. Jabari and Wemby, Jabari and Alp and Wemby, Alp, Wemby and Jabari. Wemby is just so big with 3 or 4 guards. We've seen that. You know what I mean? And one thing about the Celtics last season, they got real freaky with their lineups. They were running a lot of 4 guard sets, 3 guard sets. So, don't be surprised if you see something like that. Now, the difference, they could get away with that because 2 of their forward and guards with Jalen and Jason. I mean, with Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, they are players that are pretty big. If you've seen Jason Tatum or Jalen Brown, they're not small guys. But you know what I mean? I think Kevin Porter is a pretty big guard, and I think Jalen, if he keeps working out, will get to there where they can be, defensively sound on their own. But yeah, Wemby's the goods. We got a super chat. Before I read it, just I'm gonna close off the portion of this of the pod there. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments though, and do you think that system works for us? What do you see the fit as with Shangoon? What do you see the fit with Kevin Porter? Like I said, I really, really, really think KPJ is. I'm telling y'all, man. I see the look in his eyes. The dude is growing up before our eyes. Y'all, I don't know if some of y'all that are over like 26 years old, do you remember how you were when you were like 21, 22? Thought you were invincible, right? Never die, right? You live forever. Everything is always going to, be go your way. Then you get to about 23, 24, 25 and your brain start formulating, and I think he's getting to that point where he's going to chill out like on some of the like random stuff he does and really get to the point where his physical abilities and his God-given abilities as a basketball player are going to shine through. And I think Udoka is the perfect coach for that because he already respects him. Y'all saw the hug. I think Jalen is about to be pushed to a new level. He's been asking for it. Be careful what you ask for. I think that's going to be something that's going to be tremendous for him. I think Alpern is going to be pushed to a level that he's never been pushed to in America, at least. I know they coached hard in Turkey, but he's going to be pushed to a level, and this is great for all the guys. I think Jabari is ready for it. I think Jabari is a dog. I think he's going to be something. Y'all watch out for Jabari. If he starts off the year as he closed it out, dude's going to be on something, bro. Right? So you're thinking about all the other players. I mean, the KJ Martin, he's going to fit in like a glove. KJ Martin's probably going to be a teacher's pet. If they don't trade him, he's going to be teacher's pet, right? For Coach Udoka. KJ does everything right. He's like the perfect role player. Tate, teacher's pet, right? He's going to play hard. Coach will never be mad at him, no matter how bad he shoots, right? Garuba, I mean, his only thing, Garuba needs to get better conditioning. He's good. He's like the best player in the world for 5 minutes, then he crashes out, right? So get better conditioning, work on your game, get a little offensive package. Ty needs to come with their aggression. There's a spot for Ty. He just needs to play. But the player's going to get better, right? Some of these guys that I'm naming are going to get pushed down the bottom of the ladder. So it's going to be put up or shut up time. No more just get it because you were drafted. Now it's a meritocracy because guys are trying to win. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat. So now we'll go and in the comments. Let's go to the super chat from my boy, Third Coast Alliance. Appreciate the $10, bro. Said, I think you're correct that on that Frank Silas did seem like he was afraid of KPJ, like he wanted to avoid seeing KPJ throw a fit, so he handled him with kid gloves nor to not alienate him. Yeah, I think that's totally exactly correct because KPJ, I mean, there were so many things that I saw on the court that I was like, damn, why isn't the coach having an aneurysm on the sidelines, like as we speak? He was just stand there and clap, like, bro, what are we doing? What are we doing here? You're just setting bad examples for everybody, right? One of the things that I want Kevin Porter to do this year is not to talk so much about him being the leader of the team. That's not how leaders talk, right? Like you don't tell yourself you're the leader. Nobody anoints you a leader. You know what I mean? Leaders are born in the heat of battle, and I don't think he's shown that yet. So I don't want to hear him talk about him being the head honcho, the leader, the point guard, bro. Just shut up and hoop, dog. If he does that, like, and the guys respect him, and that goes with like all that pouting stuff. You can't pout and say you're the leader because one of the downside about being a leader, you call it the downside upside, is that you have no room for error, right? You got to be on point at all times. That's the what they say. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Like you can't just be like, oh, I'm the leader, then be lazy. You can't be the leader and be like wishy-washy, right? I don't know if y'all remember. There was a game. It was a long time ago with Russell Westbrook. I forgot what happened. I don't know if James Harden was playing or not. This dude, I don't remember what it was, but what's her name? The old sideline reporter we used to have. It was it Caitlin or whatever her name is. McEnany. She was interviewing Russ, and they were like, Russ, how do you, basically like make sure your guys are ready and you blah blah blah. And he said, well, I'm not some sometime ass leader, right? I'm not some time ass leader, like a sometime ass leader. And that's what KBJ can't be. You can't be a sometime ass, like where you're just like, oh yeah, he's a leader when he's locked in and he's scoring good, right? But when you're 0 for 7 and you've only taken 5 or 6 shots and y'all are losing, you start pouting. Now you ain't ready for that, buddy. Right? You ain't ready for that role. Leaders are born in battle, man. You'll know who your leaders are, man. Y'all seen what PJ Tucker was yelling in the Embiid's ear? You think they choreographed that and say, PJ, you're the leader, so yell at Embiid in that game towards the end, which basically after that they went on and won the game. PJ Tucker will score 5 points. And some people are like, oh, he trash. Why do you think Joel Embiid lets PJ Tucker talk to him like that? Right? Like I said, earned in battle. So all that talk, they got to dead that. Like, bro, don't say nothing. You let them boys anoint you the leader, right? Let your teammates say that for you. You never have to say that. Like, I'm the leader. I'm the point guard. I'm the head. Like, bro, relax. Like, I mean? That's just, to me, that sounds like insecurity. So I want everybody like on our team to just fall back, bro. Because when they start bringing some vets in, all of that stuff is shape out, right? All of that stuff is shape out. All right, let's see who we got in the chat. Let me see. I'm gonna start from an arbitrary spot. Let me see. That boy, what's up, Swaggy? Scoot is him. What Scoot are we talking about? Henderson or what's the other Scoot? Scoot. I guess KPJ Scoot. Rob Cortez says if we get the first pick traded to Indiana for Halliburton, Rob, you are smoking crack, my man. Boy, what? You think we tank 3 years to get Halliburton? Nah, brother. Come on, Rob. I love you, man, but nah, you tripping. You are tripping. Dale says at Alan Luna, he can't be successful as a six man. He can't be. Are we talking about Kevin Porter Jr.? I think he can be. I think he can. There's a lot of positions he could play. I think he could probably play a smaller three guard, like on offense. I think he could play definitely a shooting guard, that which I think is his natural position. And he could play definitely as a combo guard off the bench if you don't have a primary ball handler. And if we don't get a Harden or a Scoot Henderson, and we get like I said on Lockdown Rockets like a George Hill, then yeah, KPJ is going to be your starting point guard. You get the more traditional point guard off the bench, which is fine. One of the issues with that approach, though, it does have its limitations. If you don't, we're hoping that's where Shangoon comes into play, where you think Shangoon can kind of be. You need somebody that's an elite facilitator at some point, but that's going to be in the future, right? We're not there yet. But when you get to the playoffs and you get to like deep in the playoffs, that stuff matters. Like today, Marcus Smart tripping out, you know what I mean? Dribbling the ball off his foot in crucial situations. The difference between Coach Udoka and Coach Mazzulla is that I think Malcolm Brogdon or White would have had the ball in their hands in those situations. So once again, the whole Silas and Kevin Porter thing, young coach scared to challenge their players, right? But that's one thing that Coach Udoka was not scared of. He put everybody in the right hierarchy. They played in position. I think a lot of their success is based on that, and they're kind of reverting back to that. Let's see. David Wynn says, "Nah, bro, I already got gray hair from uni. I'm a seasoned vet." Okay, I don't know what y'all boys talking about. Yusugami says, "Keep Uzi, trade Kaminsky, Boban, and Knicks for what? What are we trading them for, bro? What is the team gonna give you Yusugami for Kaminsky, bro? Like what for Boban and Knicks? You basically just like what are we doing? They're probably gonna give you what? You know what I mean? A chair? What you gonna get back, bro? I think Uzi does need to go to the G League a little bit. I think he's going to be a project, but I think once we're a contender, if he's in our farm system, he's probably going to be one of those players that's going to be very impactful. Rob Cortez says there's a realistic chance that he's asked to come off the bench. He could thrive in that role, but it's on how he reacts. Yeah, I mean, who cares how he reacts? Like, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I'm saying like to me, it's really a simple thing. It's do or die for him, right? I don't think the whole dynamic of like tiptoeing around him is over. They're trying to win now, so all that's over. Those are loser moves, right? To care about what Kevin Porter Jr.'s emotions like are towards being asked to do his job, right? We're not doing that anymore. Like I said, we're gonna give him a blank slate, just like every other player on this team, to come in and compete for a starting job and put him in structure and give him a chance to be successful in basketball. And if that is something that he is not open to doing for whatever reason, because he thinks he's above the team, then he probably doesn't need to be on the team anymore. But I'm going to assume, because I've seen a lot of growth from Kevin Porter, that that's not going to be the case. I think he's going to be whatever they ask him to do. I think he's going to do it. I think whatever they ask him to do, especially if we get a better player in front of him, right? Especially if we get a better player in front of him. I think that's going to be a big deal. Night Owl says, for real, leaders don't got to tell anyone. Yes, sir. You don't have to tell somebody you're a leader, bro. If you telling people, then you're not a leader, right? What they say about like if you're a man and you gotta tell your wife or your girlfriend that you're the man of the house, then you probably you doing something wrong there, buddy. Right. So you don't have to. What I call it, Kaylee McEnany. That was Trump's press secretary. I'm tripping. I'm tripping. Sigma Miggs, bro. I'm tripping, bro. That's. I knew there was a Kaylee. She was Kaylee McInerney. Okay, Kaylee Griffin. Yes, Kaylee Griffin. Rob Cortez, Frank. Wemby plays twice a week on minutes restriction. Oh, okay. You scared about the injury? I don't know, bro. I think I don't care if I mean I just still think you can build them up to wherever you want. I agree. I would have Wemby playing like 15, 20 minutes a game in the NBA, no back to backs, whatever I got to do to get his stamina up. If you read that article by Jonathan Gavoni and Windhorse, they actually said that's the plan for him. Is like you're gonna have to like build him up. They don't want to rush anything on him, like try to get him too swole, too heavy, too much at one time. So with Wemby, you're gonna have to kind of build that locomotive, and it's a long term plan, man. It's a long term plan. Basically, you're looking at him like a Joel Embiid. Now, Joel, his obviously he was hurt his first 2 years, came back. He's always load managing for like the last his next like 2 or 3 seasons, and then he's finally put together a stretch in the last 2 years of where he's been relatively healthy. And I'm sure Philly would have loved him to play all that time, but now he might give them a championship, and he's an MVP. So I think you just have to like be patient when you have that level of talent. It's really not about the right now. I don't care what Wemby plays in year 1 or 2. I'm looking at can we keep him healthy in year 5 and 6, and can he if he reaches his potential, is he going to be that level of player where you're talking about a defense player of the year, MVP level player? So I would say that I would not trade Wemby for Halliburton. I don't know who I would trade Wemby for, honestly. Let me think. The young players, I don't know because I think like even if he is a bust, and even if Wemby is like injured, you still have to take the gamble because the upside is so crazy, right? So I'm not one of them that's like, oh, I understand the like what you're saying though. I do agree. Like it is going to be like a big gamble, but I take it 100 out of 100. 0-0 Tux Given says I'm worried about Harden coming back to a motion offense. To be honest, how would that work, man? That's dude. I mean, the way I see it, man, that's a good question. I don't want James Harden back for multiple reasons. I would be okay with him coming back on a shorter contract. I'm not super emotionally attached to it, despite what people tell you. Y'all, you guys know me. Like I look at basketball, it's a game. There's pros and cons to everything. I just think there's more cons from Harden being on the team than pros. And I also just like the young core we have, and I like the vibe that Coach Udoka can build with his young core. I feel like Harden brings a lot to the table, but he also brings other aspects of his personality, of his game that I don't want on this blank tablet that we're trying to paint this masterpiece on. So that's just my personal view. Like I it's just I feel like we get a chance to really move forward in with our team and the trajectory in this like the Rockets organization. I just don't like going backwards. I mean, I'm almost sick of Harden's playing style. Like I was getting annoyed watching him get try to draw fouls and stuff during the season. So I really don't want that. I want a bunch of dogs. I want guys. I want that feeling, man. And you know what I mean? Like if y'all don't, if people want Harden back, I understand why. I get it. You know what I mean? He's a great player. A lot of nostalgia there. He can help the team with the point guard play. He can blah blah blah. I get it. And I'm not arguing like he can't come back. I'm sure he's probably gonna come back. But for me, I'm ready to move on. Like I'm ready to move on. I don't think we don't need to go back there. Because at the end of the day, if we're hoisting that Larry OB, it's going to be on the backs of Jalen, Jabari, Shangoon, or whoever we draft coming up, or Tari. It's going to be on the back of these young guns that we got and whatever players we've added. I don't think Harden's going to get us a championship. Now, there's been a lot of like weird arguments. He's going to be a bridge. I mean, you could do that with a million other players, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be Harden. So in the offense for that, the Celtics run, yes, because remember what I said? They drive and kick and they reset. They move off ball. They set screens off ball. I don't see Harden doing none of that. He's probably going to stand there. I don't know. I'm not sure. I wonder what Coach Udoka feels about him. Like, is he excited at the thought of having James Harden, or is he like, damn, this dude's going to ruin? Because if I was him, I wouldn't want him back either because it's like, I don't know if you like you're somebody that you finally get a chance to really implement what your system is and build from scratch, and then you have somebody that has their own habits already. So I don't know how I feel about that. You know what I mean? So um, Tuck says because Shangun should be operating the motion. Yeah, Shangun the motion offense is gonna be he's gonna be setting hella screens, bro. Hella screens, bro. He's gonna screen, roll, maybe get the ball. If he gets isolation, they might post him up. If the post double team comes, he's gonna kick, rescreen. Yeah, they're gonna be doing a lot of screening and actions. And if as many handoffs that the Celtics ran and as many spot ups they generated, it won't be as like the Warriors like, but it's gonna be like a version of that that's more ISO based. So it's gonna be exciting. I'm really curious to see. I think how Coach Udoka uses Shangun is gonna tell me a lot about him. It's gonna tell me a lot about the dude, right? Sagami says we don't need Harden to mess with the young core. Facts. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Y'all can call me a hater, man. You know, it's weird people call you a hater for just having a different opinion. It's weird. It's a weird thing. Like we can have discourse that's not haterish. Oh, let me go back. My bad. Alan Lewis says, "Got to give up picks to trade." Yeah, you got to give up the damn near Wemby, bro. Who gonna take on that? Steve O was good, brother. Says I have to admit I've been pulling for the Sixers against Boston because of Harden. I want the guy to get a ring regardless whether he comes to a ring. I'm assuming he's saying ring. I don't know. I really don't know what to do about the Harden, like who to cheer for, because I'm confused. Because if you cheer for him to win a ring, he wins a ring. Some people tell me that means he's staying, which makes no sense to me. To me, if he wants to come back to Houston, he wins a ring. That's to me like he's done what he's supposed. Mission accomplished. Let me go home and chill. Then if you cheer for him to get blown out and fail, if he comes back to Houston, would that make him want to come back more or like try again? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't care. I'm okay with whatever happens. I just hope they don't give him the max. Right? If they give him a 3-year contract, I can cook with that. Give him a 2-year, give him a 100 million, 120 million in 2 years, I can cook with that. But that max scares me. That max scares me because it does limit. I don't care what don't when no matter what nobody tells you and what type of, like wording they try to use, if you pay Harden the max, it is going to impact your cap flexibility going in the future, especially depending on how he trajects going forward as a player, right? And I've already I don't care how many points he scores every other game or every 2 games in the playoffs. I've seen the signs of a player on the decline. Now, one thing people hear that they think he's supposed to be trash. He's a Hall of Famer, bro. He's one of the top 75. He's a one of one. Those guys can get up for games, they can get up for series, they can get up when they need to. I'm telling you right now, if Chris Paul was healthy, there's a game if he needed to, he could probably drop 30 and 10. But that's because they're cut different. That's a different tier of player, right? And he's in that tier. But it's the consistency that I've seen deteriorate over the years. And I think that the way it is now, it hasn't stopped deteriorating. It's gotten worse relatively to him. His worst is 99% of the NBA players' best seasons, right? But I'm judging him on his standard. And he has been going down. I don't care what nobody says. Y'all know I be in these numbers and watch these films. So you can argue with your mama, but you know what I mean? So I don't see that turning out well in 2 years. Because to me, when those guys hit the wall, it's like a sharp decline. Except if you're a Tom Brady, like Max Kellerman was saying. Assad, what's good, brother? Says thoughts on the fit between Shangun and Scoot Henderson in Ime's offense. Let me take the sip of water and I'll answer. I think that let's go back to what I was talking about earlier, right? With the type of offense they run, right? It's going to be their number one play types. Where let's pull them up. Number one play types for the Celtics: isolation. Hold on, play time, right? Handoffs and let's. Oh, that's on defense. I'm sorry. I was like isolations. Okay, spot ups. So off screens and isolation. Top three play types they have: spot ups, off screens, and isolation. How do they generate those spot ups? Drive and kick. How do they get into the drive and kick game? Through isolation or coming off screens. Off screens are first. So they run more off screens than they do isolation. So isolations are the third option. So basically, the spot up is the end result of their offense, which is ran by screens and isolation. That's how you should look at it, right? So if they're running screens in isolation, you have Shangun, one of the best screeners in the game. You get a pick and roll god that Scoot Henderson is going to be in the NBA level. And the fact that he can make every pass in the passing tree as a point guard, and he has rim pressure, and then Shangun can both play the lob threat on rolling. He can switch out and isolate. He can play the short roll. That's why I said he needs to get a shot. Shangun needs to get that pop, and it doesn't even have to be a three. I would even be okay with him having like a little 16 footer. You know what I mean? In case the defense wants to play him funny, or he gets like a Kevon Looney or a Draymond on him. That's a real like those guys that can play both the pick and roll, the roll man, and the lob and the guard. Some guys are really talented in doing that. The way you mitigate them is just by having that little floater, right? Y'all seen what your boy Looney was doing to Sabonis, right? Sabonis looking like trash out there, right? You got to have that little shot put. And what do we see Shangun hitting? So y'all got a peep game, man. It's there. He just gotta get better at that. Y'all remember that little shot put Shangun started hitting? Yeah, that's gonna save him, man. That's that shots like that, and as he moves out and out and out, that'll turn into a jumper. That'll turn into a three. But it's gonna take some time for him. But I think it's a seamless fit. I think it's a seamless fit. You basically have two point guards running a pick and roll together, right? And whatever option you pick, the other one is just as deadly in passing the ball. So don't let nobody tell you they don't fit together, right? No, don't let nobody tell you that. It's a seamless option. Seamless. Good question though. Steve O was good. Did anyone see how ripped Scoot Henderson was in the photo today? Damn, and our Knicks looks like a tub of damn, bro. Damn, killing Knicks. Should be either at the gym throwing up weights or shooting jumpers. I mean, I don't know what Nick's doing right now. Y'all leave that leave that man alone, man. He just having a summer. But yeah, Scoot is a man child, bro. That dude he should be playing a strong safety for the Texans. He's definitely a wrong sport, but we'll take him. We'll take him. We'll take him. Man, I'll be so sick if we don't get Scoot, bro. I want Scoot. I want to sometimes more than Wemby. I go back and forth because Wemby is actually a perfect complement for Jabari and Shangun. He would fit in just like a glove. He's probably the best fit for the team because he just covers up a lot of the weaknesses that we have on multiple players. So, but Scoot Henderson is also a fit that we need, and he would basically take our team up a level, like probably faster than any of the like top 5, top 10 players could right now. Third Coast Alliance. If we draft Scoot, we can have Sacramento, Denver style of play with moderate rim protection. If we draft Wemby, we can have the Cavs level of rim protection. No, I don't think that's going to be because let's see. Okay, so if you think about how the Celtics will run their defense, and it may change because if Udoka is a good coach, he's going to use what he has on hand to really generate what he has to do, right? So I'm not going to tie him to what the Celtics did, but they really value having that weak side help shot blocker. I mean, obviously and I think we could do that with a guy off the bench. Like Time Lord will come off the bench a lot because their starting five most of the time was Marcus, Jason, Jalen, Williams when he was playing, and then Horford. So you see, there's pretty much uh, one guard, three wings, and a big. So you want to extrapolate. You put, let's say Shangun is the big there. Your three wings could be like Kevin Porter, and I'm just assuming that we just have the guys we have now, right? Kevin Porter, Jabari, and Tari, right? So that kind of fits that. Then Kevin Porter would be more of the scorer in that. Then Jalen would be more of the because I feel like Jalen is gonna end up being like the guy that's going to handle the ball more than KPJ at some point. And I think that's perfectly normal because KPJ is a better off ball player. And I think that in situations where it's needed, Kevin Porter's skill set of being an isolation scorer, like in the playoffs, is going to be so valuable that you can give him the ball to go do his thing. But I can just see that definitely happening. But yeah, I think I don't see us playing like Denver. I don't think our style and our coaching matches that. I think Ime is a hard nosed kind of like he's gonna try to just like get it right. So I don't think they're gonna be okay with like guys shooting like damn near 70% at the rim. So if Shangun is giving up as many and low key Shangun is a better rim protector than Jokic and what's his face, a bonus or just as good. He's good at guarding the mid range. I think either better than both of them. Um, and I think I forgot what other stat I posted that a while back about him compared to those two, but he needs to be pretty good at defending the rim and also not getting beat. So he's gonna have to move them puppies, like them coaches be saying. So yeah. Yusugami says Knicks even look worse than here. Damn, bro, y'all leave my man's alone, man. What Knicks out here catching strays? Like he just damn, like he's just catching strays. Third Code says if Shangun gets more rugged like Pau Gasol did, then we can essentially have both. Yeah, that's a dream, bro. One of the first like videos I put a lot of effort into making on this channel was the Baby Pau Gasol video for Shangun, and I still hold out that hope. If we draft that he can play, and all Pau was not a super 3-point shooter. He just had a little 18-footer, bro, just a little 18-footer. You can run some double bigs, and run some big on big pick and roll. Y'all seen what he was doing with your boy KJ Martin when Shangun run that pick and roll. You give him a Wemby. Can you imagine a little paint pick and roll with two bigs? One could pop out. Like it could get nasty, man. Like I just hated how unimaginative Steven Silas was. I'm sorry. Like it was just nasty. Like I'm looking at the talent we have on our team and how they're being utilized because basically he really was just trying to figure out what he was doing, and it was just nasty. So yeah, the imagination could go wild there. Like there's a lot of things you could do with talented players. Steven say if we keep Knicks, we can look like the bad news bear. I don't think Knicks is the root of our problems. I think Steven Silas was. Swaggy says Scoot Henderson got a crazy build for his height. Kind of reminds me of Donovan Mitchell with shades of CP. Yeah, he's built like Eric Bledsoe, but he's actually a good basketball player. So you know, I mean that's yeah. I mean the dude is ready. He's ready. He's ready. Yeah, he looks like he could be playing running back. Yeah, dude looks like a football player. Rob Cortez says Scoot will be like us winning the lot would be like us winning the lottery. There's a non-zero chance where we end up with the best player for 3 straight drafts. When all is said and done, Shangun would be a bonus. I don't know if Jabari is going to be the best player in his class, brother. I ain't gonna cap. I think Jalen has a case. I don't know. I think Paulo's the goods, bro. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I think Paulo's the goods. I think he is going to be. He's going to be a guy. He's going to be a guy. If y'all seen him in the summer, he's already lost weight. He looks trim. The dude's going to be a guy, and he's a hooper. Yeah, I think Paulo's going to be one of those guys. I think Jabari's going to be one of the better players in his class. I think he's going to be a great player in his class, but I think the combination of Paulo's size, playmaking, he's going to get better at shooting. He's going to be a good defender. I just can see him just being like one of those guys. So that's just my take, though. Let's see, Baba Shola. Will you trade Wemby for Wolves Edwards? Ooh, no, not because of I love Edwards. I think he's a goon. I just don't. Yeah, bro. I'm too intrigued by the Wemby upside. I'm sorry, too intrigued by the Wemby upside. I'm gonna cry if we get the fourth or fifth pick. Just trade him, man. At that point, you just roll with the young guys you got. I think to me, this draft is like it's pivotal, but it's a bonus. Like most teams do good with 2 top 5 picks, bro. Like this is a bonus. It's not normal for teams to be in the bottom picking bottom three, top three for 3 years in a row. That's just like you know what I mean. That's kind of it's not abnormal, but it's not like super normal. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be like, oh, we need a third top 5 pick. To me, a better coach, these guys would look better. You don't need to have those picks. And if you're a good team, you can hit anywhere in the draft, honestly. Even if we drafted fifth or sixth, you still, you know what I mean? A lot of great players are drafted there. You just have to know what you're doing. So, you know what I mean? So that's all I feel about that. Rob Cortez, I agree with y'all about having to take Wemby, but we're taking a huge risk. If we get the first pick, not to mention what we change about our current prospects based on getting him. Look, if Stone doesn't pick Wemby, he's probably going to get arrested. Now, what's the police chief's name? Whatever his name is, he follows me on Twitter. He's a Rockets fan. I would DM that man and tell him to go arrest Stone. Like, we just gonna arrest him. Forget his First Amendment rights. We're gonna arrest Stone if he doesn't pick Wemby. Because not even if you don't like him, like you got to think about the financial ramifications of not taking a Wemby Yama that the Rockets are thinking about. right? Remember the $500 million evaluation of the team that gets him? You don't think Tillman Fertitta is sitting there like praying for Wemby? The dude literally said that, damn near tampered with a player that's not in the league yet, damn near tampered with a player that he might not get. You think he's gonna tell his guy to trade him? No, I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. No, I do not think so. Getting 3 or 4 is like a cheeseburger. It ain't a Big Mac, but it's still McDonald's. Damn, you hungry, bro? Like, what are we talking about here? Oh, you mean the third or fourth pick? Getting a third, 3 or 4 is like, yeah, okay, I get the analogy. I get it. I get it. I get it. I didn't know what you were talking about at first. I thought you were saying a number 3 and number 4. I was like, sir, this is not a Wendy's. But yeah, I think that that it, you know what I mean, it's if you get Brandon Miller, would you be that mad? I wouldn't be. I mean, if he's at 3, I take him at 3. I think you can still take him. He has upside, even though I don't like him like as like a top prospect. I mean, Brendan Miller is not chopped liver. He's still a player that, you know what I mean, that could be a great NBA player and addresses areas of needs in shooting. He's long. So, you know what I mean? It's not like the worst thing in the world. And we're talking about a team that is going to be generating a lot of spot ups. Brandon Miller is one of the better spot up shooters in the NCAA. So, yeah, I think he would actually fit the system very well. Honestly, that might be Udoka's pick. That might be his pick. I don't know what I don't know his draft philosophy or anything like that. That might be his pick. Chetman, I've already stated my opinion on Harden. Do we really want a guy who doesn't have that killer it factor in the playoffs? Totally agree, man. I'm like y'all don't understand my journey with James Harden. I was the biggest James Harden apologist for the half a decade he was on the team, or however many years it was. Defended this man playoffs after playoffs after playoffs after playoffs until like I just got tired of it. I was out on Harden as a superstar like in 2019. I just seen it too many times. There's something, a mental block. I don't know if it's something with his game that just doesn't translate. And it's not even the missed shots. I don't like people get on like players like Russ. Like Russ will go and lose a game, shoot like 30 shots, and people like, oh, da da da, you choked. That's not choking, bro. You feel me? That's not choking. That's yeah, you were bad. You played bad. You didn't. To me, choking is when your superstar takes like 7 shots in a closeout game. When stuff like that happens, that's different, bro. Like that's different. You feel me? I appreciate the dogs and players. That's why I really like Kevin Porter Jr. Dude's a dog. To me, if you got a dog, if you find the right coach, right system, you can kind of train them up. And not to refer to humans as dogs, but in a sports sense, like you can get them right. What you can't train is heart, bro. So, not saying Harden doesn't have heart. I've seen enough, man. I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to defend this man anymore. Like people today is saying, "Oh my God, Harden this, Harden that." Yes, the last game, crickets. The game before that, crickets. The first game, oh, Harden is back. Like, bro, y'all make your minds up. If any of these individual playoff games are making you wish wash on James Harden, then I don't know. Like, I really question people's basketball, like just your knowledge. Like, nothing that he's doing in this series. If I didn't like James Harden because of how he played against Boston, then I'm a hater because that's dumb to like make your judgment off of any individual playoff series or game on him. Like it should be more of a bigger picture collective thing. Like, and most of those takes aren't going anywhere, right? James Harden is still a great player. He's still going to put up numbers. He's still one of the best players in the NBA. But a lot of the stuff becomes like, oh yeah, he had a good game. I want him back. Oh, he had a bad game. I don't want him anymore. Like, bro, what are we kids? Come on, let's have conviction and just you know what I mean. If you wanted him back, stick with that. You feel me? Stand by your guns. You feel me? Say what you was gonna say and say it whether he goes 0 for 10 or he drops 50 points. And if you don't want him, just stand on your 10 toes about it. Like y'all got to be stopped falling to peer pressure on this stuff. I don't want James Harden back. I don't care how many points he scores. That doesn't change. I said that when before the playoffs. It's not going to change my view after the playoffs. If he comes back, I'm going to cheer for him and whatnot. But I would prefer not to have him on this team because I just don't feel like we really need him. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion, though. Let me do a couple more. Let me see. Y'all arguing something about Middleton. Let's see, Rob. If we try to get Harden and trade young assets for another star, Tillman is a GD moron. Well, I'm not gonna say much about Tillman's Morenism or whatever you call it. But if we do that, if Tillman we tank for 3 years for Tillman to do some like dumb stuff, then he on pack watch too. You know it's hard to get them owners out, but Tillman on pack watch. Well, he's been doing good. Tillman's been doing good. Let's give him some credit. I give Harden 25 million a year. Shark Shock, you spazzing, bro. Harden is not taking no damn 25. You bugging. My boy B. What up, B? Brandon Pimpson says I'm signing him. We cannot get another free agent even close to James Harden caliber. Not to mention the playoff experience of young guys will get. Brandon, you flip flopped on this, bro. I ain't gonna cap, dog, because I could have sworn you was on the anti Harden thing, bro. Let me find out you getting swayed by step back threes in the playoffs. Okay, B. I got my eye on you, dog. I ain't gonna lie, because you were not the biggest Harden fan. If I remember, maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Harden is the only person that Scoot accept a 6-man role for. Hell no. Nah, there's a lot of guards in the NBA that would come in and take his spot off rip. Like, what you mean? And let's stop talking like accept. Like he's a player. The guy makes what $18 million a year. He's on a contract that basically tells him that they don't trust him. So I don't think he has a lot of leverage in anything that he does right now. I'm sure they love him and they want him to be a part of the future, but like it's not like he gets to like pick and choose what he wants. He accepts whatever happens. Like this is the NBA, bro. They bench better players every single day. Chipman says, according to the Rockets watch, they've heard that front office want to go after guys they consider good value. So I'm not wondering if they won't throw an offer at for restricted free agents. So I'm not wondering. Are you wondering or you're not wondering? I'm kind of confused by your verb. I mean the way you worded that, but I mean, yeah, I mean that makes sense, right? You want go after guys that are good value. I don't think that's shocking. To see. King 00098 says it would break me mentally if we give Harden a max contract. It feels like the rebuild and Silas pain for the last 3 years was for nothing. Yeah, I mean, you can still thread the needle in between giving him a contract and like doing one of those, like semi, like we're gonna still lean on young guys. I just don't know what James is coming down for. I've heard everything. There was a thing where Woj was talking about that Harden is there's rumor or whatever that he really might come back to Houston. His family is there, great in the community. He's blah blah blah. Nothing about basketball. Don't y'all find that odd? There's really no talk about Harden coming back for basketball reasons. It's all other stuff. I don't want to pay a guy a max contract to come home and chill, bro. Like this is not your homecoming, dog. We trying to build a dynasty. Nothing about basketball, right? So I mean, yeah, y'all can call me a hater, man. I really don't care. But y'all know I try to be objective. So if this take, I'm gonna stick to my guns on. If it happens, like I said, I'm cool with it. But I just don't believe it's great for the team. Rob Cortez, I'm with you on Scoot. That's what I want. Anything else, trade it. Steve O says if we don't get Scooter Wemby, the live chop shop that day, oh my gosh, we might have to. I might have to do a Zoom call with a therapist. Y'all just gonna watch a therapy session online, bro. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. If we get, well, it just depends. If we get like the fifth pick, yeah, that's gonna be nasty, bro. Oh my god, I would. See, let's be positive. Did y'all know that the lottery is like 9 days away? Somebody told me that on Twitter today. I almost had a heart palpitations. Like I thought it was like a year. It feels like it's a month away, but um, it's already like May. Like it's crazy. Chatman says, honestly, I really want to have this second pick more than the first pick. So what if we trade back to 2 for a few future first? That's if Stone does that, I'll give him credit. I don't think he will, out of fear of scrutiny of being the guy that traded Wemby, especially if Wemby turns out to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? So it's going to be like that whole, you know what I mean, Jordan and what's his name, that Portland picked up, but Bowie situation. Like I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be the guy. I wouldn't. I don't think Stone wants to be the guy. I don't know. It might be like a Hakeem and Jordan thing then, where you take one guy and one guy turns out. I don't know, but I don't think there's a GM in the NBA that's going to trade the Wemby pick. I think that would definitely cost you your job easily. Yeah, I think that would cost you your job easily. Night Owl says Paulo was ready to come to Houston. Still hurts. I like Jabari. I think Jabari is what we needed, bro. I think Paulo would have been good. It would have gave our team a different direction, obviously, because then you would have like your offensive guy, and you draft different. Everything is different if Paulo comes to Houston. But Jabari's here. Jabari's going to be a key part to a contender, and yeah, we gonna ride with Jabari, bro. And I can see if we meet them boys in the finals, Jabari's gonna have to guard Paulo, and I can, you know what I mean? Might be like one of those things where he's like his kryptonite and just shuts him down. So I think there's a lot, man. The NBA is so funny, and the how players their trajectory is so like unknown. Like you don't know, we don't know who on this team is going to be the next star, man. It could be Ty Ty. Ty Ty could end up being like a Hall of Fame point guard. We don't know. It's just funny. That's how the league is. The guys who you think are guys aren't really guys, and the guys who you least expect. Not all the time. There's some guys that like they're the guy and they stay like that. But I mean, some of these guys nobody saw Giannis coming. Nobody saw Jokic coming. You feel me? Nobody sees this guy's coming a lot of the time. Nobody saw Russell Westbrook coming. Nobody saw all these guys. And what I mean by that is that they were going to be one of the best players in NBA history. You know what I mean? Like nobody saw Dame turn out to be. Hell, nobody saw Steph. Yeah, he was drafted in the first pick. I mean, in the first round. If anybody tells you they believe they saw Steph was going to be what he is today, they lying, bro. People used to make fun of the Warriors for trying to build a team around two shooters. Used to make fun of them. So we don't know. Like we don't know who these guys are. We can project, but you never know who's going to be the guy, who's going to pop off. You don't know who's going to develop something. Nobody saw James Harden. Yeah, he was drafted third or whatever his pick was. But just because you're drafted in that position, nobody expects nothing from you. You think people think Jabari is going to be a superstar? They probably think, oh, he's a nice role player, be a good player on a good team. We don't know. We don't know, man. We don't know. So that's why you gotta just patience with some of these dudes. It's patience. King Denka says, I love Scoot and wouldn't mind having him, but Wemby is a no-brainer. It's okay to have options. It is. It is. It is. Let's see. B Pimpson says, I'd rather have Scoot or Amen or Miller. Over. Okay, over Amen or Miller. Yeah, facts. Big facts. Let's see. Your boy Skeeter says, we for sure getting the second and SA getting the first. Y'all keep saying that, man. Y'all acting like it's written or something. I don't know. What if we get the first pick? Y'all gotta have some faith. Brandon Pimpson said, I just want Harden to get the young core to playoff experience. Nah, Brandon, that's not what I asked you, bro. Were you not somebody that was on here talking about you didn't want Harden back? I need you to answer that, bro. You give me a lot of explanations right now, bro. You talking around this question. I ain't asked you all that, dog. We've seen how the experience have to say, yeah, bro, that's cool. But I swear to God, you was on the you didn't jump ship. See, you give me all the arguments that people on Twitter give me. Brandon, I'm asking you, were you not on the I don't want Harden train? Come on, bro. That's the question. That's the question I'm asking, bro. All good points you making. I thought I was going crazy because I remember we was all on here together with that. So you didn't left me. Harden dropped 45 and Brandon over here. He ready to start hanging the banners up. Okay, bro. I see how it is. Terry says I'll take Harden on the 2-year contract more than that if prefer somewhere else. Yeah, me too. I'm open to a 3-year 2+1. I hope there's a world where Harden does like a 2-year contract to like take care of whatever he got to do here in the city. Then he can burn out and go try to win a ring somewhere else. I hope it's like that, where we could meet up in the middle and give him the bag all up front. But you know what I mean. Brandon Pim says boys want Middleton and Van Vliet over Harden. I don't want Middleton. Van Vliet, I don't know. I've really lowered on that dude, man. I don't know. People have talked me out of it. That was probably what like I think it was some of the fans from the Toronto fan base when we first were thinking Nick Nurse was coming. A lot of them started interacting. We were on Spaces with them. Then they started following me. Then I would say stuff, and they would show me proof of stuff. So yeah, man, I was really talked down from that. I was talked down from there. Shark Shock says I would still take Harden even if he is in a decline. His game is based on skill over athleticism. He has another 3 years left in the league. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what you're trying to do. I think you have to look at the Harden in a goal situation, right? I think like in the first 2 years, I think he probably has 2 years of being at a near all-star level player. Um, I think by the time you get to the third and fourth year of his contract, if he is on a max, you're probably a playoff team at that point. And then the questions come in is that what type of team are you fielding and where does he fit, right? Where does he fit defensively? Where does he fit offensively? Does his game transition to more movement off ball as he gets older? Does his game transition to being able to be more of a catch and shoot player where there's more athletic guards initiating? Does he translate to where he can actually become a serviceable defender as he ages? And the reason to me this is important, I know people poo poo 2 years from now, 3 years from now, but you never know when your opportunity to make a deep run presents itself. And a player making what up close to $50 million that is going to be a liability on the court on a team that has championship aspirations. Yes, even as early as 2 3 years from now, to me is a hindrance. The other aspect of him being on a team is the limitations you have with your free agency as players become available, because at those points you start signing your other players, right? You start signing the Jalen Greens to their designated contracts. Jabari's class becomes eligible, et cetera, et cetera. And you just don't know who pops up, right? You don't know who pops up, right? Which player that you could get that may want to come to Houston but can't because you have this albatross of a $50 million contract. So I know this is like, oh, damn, that's 2 years. Who cares where, sir? I don't know. It happens all the time in the NBA, man. And people, the fan bases act like somebody probably didn't tell them about it when it was happening in real time. You feel me? Like, this is what team building is. You have to project 3 4 years out. You make moves today that impact what you do 4 years from now. And I just don't like that being handcuffed to that. You know what I mean? Even though the cap space is going up, blah blah blah. I don't care. That's still a massive contract. So I would rather him come on a short contract. If we can get 2 3 years out of him, then dip out. Give us our space, our flexibility. We see, somebody might pop up we like, because at the end of the day, I think when we get to that point where we are to a playoff team, it's going to be on the back of these guys that are young right now. You know what I mean? And I ask myself, people talk about veteran experience. Hell, you can get that from damn near any vet. I mean, James Harden is not the only vet in the NBA. So to me, that's not a reason to give a guy 50 million. Just say you want to be relevant. Just say you want to win games faster than later, right? Sooner than later. We want to be a winning team. Those are better arguments than all that veteran stuff. Like, guys, there's 29 other teams in the NBA that he's not on, and guess what? They're doing just fine, right? He's not the only vet in the NBA. There's vets all over the league, so that's not an excuse to pay a guy 50. There's better arguments for James Harden than he's a veteran. So like that stuff that doesn't work for me. Like, oh, he's a veteran. Yeah, I mean, okay, so is Austin Rivers. You know what I mean? And like I said before, most vets that have even been vets for superstars, most of them aren't stars. They're just former good players that played in championship games. Some of them have won rings, but they're rarely superstars, because most superstars, it's hard for them to dedicate themselves to the development of another person, because to be a superstar, you got to kind of be self-centered. Yeah, you can be cool with them, show them some tips, but a vet is just like a job, bro. So I just think they could get the veteran thing. If your argument is that the Rockets are trying to win, James Harden gives them the best chance to win in the short term. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I can roll with that. But don't give me all that stuff. Like, we know what's up. You know what I mean? We know what's up. We know what's up. Let me see if Brendan has answered my question. I ain't trying to hear the strip clubs BS. Yeah, that's true. I think that's to the other point. The argument against Harden of like strip clubs, that's dumb. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. I don't care about that. Like, you know what I mean? Maxie wasn't in Vegas with them when he went to Vegas, right? So I think it's more just to me like I just want these guys to be able to blaze their own paths, and I think you can build an identity by just bringing good players around them and a good coach. You feel me? So I just don't, that's just my point of view. Let me see. Okay, Brendan's still ducking the question. Yusugami says, Celtics fan complaining about Jalen Brown in only the defense. Anything else, he is very good. Yeah, bring that boy. I don't give a damn what his defense is like. Bring him. Bring him. Brandon Peterson, bro, you tripping. Brown is good on defense. Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from, bro. I think people expect guys to be like Drew Holiday or something. Brown is a good defender. He's a good defender. He's a good defender. Like, what are we saying? Like, he is a good defender. You can't be a key part of one of the best defenses in the NBA and not be a good defender. Every one of their players can defend, like 1 through 5. They all are good defenders, and he is not the weak link on there. Y'all seen what he did to your boy James Harden in that game where he had that boy in hell. So he's a good defender. He's a good defender. He can guard wings and guards. Yeah, he's a good defender. He's not great. He's not like super elite, but yeah, that's not an issue. Defense is not an issue for him. Ball handling, okay, yeah, we could talk. Decision making, yeah, we could talk. Ball security, yeah, we could talk. But the defense, that's a non-starter. He has other issues, but everything else, man, type of guy you want. Type of guy you want. Type of guy you want. At what point would you trade your pick for a top player? Like, how far does it have to fall? Man, I'm almost at 3 and up, bro. I probably draft Miller. After that, I'm trading that thing. I do not trust the Twins. I do not trust the Twins. Saad, your job trading out of Wemby pick might cost cost you your life. Right in the draft room, Tillman would strangle Stone. Wemby could have billions. Yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, if I don't even think Stone would even like. I think they would just cut the feed to the draft because somebody would just pull the plug before he talked. There's no way. There's no team trading Wemby. It's just for money, about it for the sake of money, bro. They're not gonna trade Wemby. They're not gonna trade Wemby. Shepman says, uh, I guess to be frank, I don't know what that means. Boston fans just seem to complain about Brown and everything over there. They're savage over there. They wanted him. Ime gone after a month on the Celtics, bro. I mean, well, I guess no, we're not like that. I think we gave Silas a year and a half. We were actually, I remember fans were happy when Knicks was getting playing time last year, like 2022 season. So yeah, I guess we're not that bad. Rockets fans can be pretty savage, but the Celtics fans, I don't know. JB is a bit. He is kind of like he is very abrasive with them because he's very outspoken, and it rubs them the wrong way because they're used to like their stars loving Boston and stuff like that, and he's very outspoken about how he feels about stuff. I remember they had asked him that. I think after that article in the New York Times or whatever came out about him, like his experience of racism in Boston and all this stuff, and he said that if they want him, he wants to be there. If they don't want him, then he's okay with leaving. And when he came in the game, the Boston fans gave him a standing ovation, and they asked him after the game, "How did that make you feel?" He was like, "I forgot what he said. Something like." I'm just here to pay, like some like on the vibes of I'm just here to play basketball, which is like, damn, bro, you can even lie. But yeah, he's not about the shits, bro. He doesn't play. He's about his business. He's about his business. There's a video series that NBA dropped. It's called Past the Rock. Go on their NBA YouTube, check it out. There's a feature on Jalen Brown and some of the work he does in the community. And I think they were at one of his galas for one of his award ceremonies or something like that. And I think that's another underrated aspect of getting players is looking at the character and leadership that they bring, especially to our young guys. Now, you want to talk about somebody that's going to set a good example. You're talking about a dude that could possibly be, somebody that's like a activist. You're talking about somebody that could be one of those time men of the year type things. I mean, he does a lot for underserved communities. So I think those are the type of people that we want our guys around. Let me skip down. Let me see. Let me see if Brandon. Oh, Brandon just avoided the question. Okay, Rufa. Okay, bro, I'm doing a space right now. Juan Rufasto. What's good, bro? Sign Kelly Oubre and Jay Crowder to start at small forward. Trade Tate and Ty Ty Washington to Hornets for Rozier. Sign Burks and Noel for veteran depth. KBJ Green and Oubre Smith Shangoon. What? Bro, hell nah. That sounds like a nah, bro. You tripping. Come on, man. Nah. Okay, let me look at Kelly Oubre. Nah, he can't shoot, bro. You heard our coach say we need shooting and defense. He brings decent defense, can't shoot. Jay Crowder, I like Jay Crowder. That's a good vet. I'm not gonna lie. Like Jay Crowder. Trade Ty Ty and Tate. I'm not mad at trading Tate. I kind of want to see what Ty Ty has. Terry Rozier. I'm not gonna say I dislike the Terry Rozier thing. I actually like his game, so I'm not mad at that. Burks, Noel, yeah, as a backup, veteran depth. Yeah, you said that. But that starting five is kind of Oubre, bro. That's nasty. I'd rather just put Tari in there, bro. Why would I do that? Just put Tari in there. Just, you know what I mean? Just put Tari. What up, Space? Boy, Space goes. Shout out to the bro. Space, do me a favor, bro. Tell me if I'm tripping, bro. Oh, okay, B. I'm reading now. He said I'm skipping his comments. Wasn't B Simpson an anti-Harden person? Like literally, like a month ago. I'm gonna scroll down, or somebody tell me. Brandon, if I miss your comment, say it again. Okay, before I go, I need you to answer this question, Brandon. Were you anti James Harden? I'm at the bottom of the chat thing because I was trying to catch up with all. Let me see. Okay, he looks like he answered it a little further down. He said, "I said from the jump we should sign Harden." Bro, I don't know, bro. Space, I could have swore this dude was like, "We don't need him," but I'm gonna have to dig through the tapes, bro. But if you're not, my bad then. My bad, my bad. I was on your neck all night. Okay, okay, okay. But yeah, man. Appreciate y'all, man, for coming through. Before we go, let's do some quality control. Obviously, you see the Chiron there rolling at the bottom. Support the great quality basketball hoops content that we give here at the Chop Shop by donating on our Cash App at $ Chop Shop HTX. We have a lot of great things in store. It's a dead time for the Rockets right now, so we'll keep doing these lives to check in with y'all. We'll do. I got a couple podcasts scheduled, but as we get closer to lottery, obviously it's going to pick up. Right, our summer is going to get crazy in a little bit with the lottery. Obviously, the draft. Obviously, the free agency is going to be crazy, training camp, etc. Shark Shock, what you mean? What do? Hold on. I always see people. Kyrie is an activist. I would consider Brown an activist. I don't know. What did you spell that wrong? ACAT. Now Brown is definitely a somebody that's very involved in the community, and to me, people try to characterize him as like he is as what's the term? Uh, he's as kind of quirky as Kyrie is. He's not, right? Y'all have to understand people have personalities. These players are not cutouts, cardboard cutouts. They have their beliefs and things like that. But we don't judge them like that, right? Yeah, I don't know what Shark Shock. Yeah, that boy on that Sherm, bro. But let me see. Let me see. Brandon says, "What about JG on the trading block for Jabari?" Y'all see, y'all gonna draw me back in with these crazy comments. B, I was just about to leave you alone, bro. You trying to trade JG? Oh, you said that? Yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah, y'all tripping. Y'all tripping, man. All right, with that said, on that crazy comment, I'm gonna leave it off on that, man. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Getting ready for the lottery. Y'all get your prayers. Come on, man. We need some good luck. Right? Top 3 or bust. Top 2, ideally. Top 3, ideally. He said we would trade JG before Barry. He tripping. Nah, they ain't gonna do that. But yeah, man, shout out to y'all. Shout out CSGs, y'all boys, holding it down for the Rockets Chop Shop. Hit us up on Cash App, support the channel, keep giving you great content. We will be back on the next go round. Y'all check out. I'm gonna have. I think we're doing a pod this week, if I'm not mistaken. Have some special guests coming up on some of these pods. Y'all keep supporting the channel. Hit the like button on the video if you haven't already, and check us out on Spotify, Apple, and all the streaming. We try to put all the audios for this so you can listen to it as on your ways to work, while you work out. You know what I mean? While you're supposed to be doing something productive, just listen to me or Space's voice. All right, man. Y'all take care, everybody. Have a good night.